Welcome everybody to the Poke Battle Network. We are down in the arena today because we have something special happening. We are going to be watching the factions run of the LATAM Emerald as we are going to be following Infinity Go as they play their second week. I have with me HomeSliceHenry, shoutcasting this amazing run of Infinity Go Black with me. HomeSliceHenry, how are you today?
I'm doing well, and yourself?
Oh, I'm so excited. I love seeing top tier battlers, and especially when it's like names I recognize and I know. I fangirl out because I'm always rooting for my friends, to not be biased or anything, but you know, this is the Infinity Black is great. Having you on here, sir, is a treat. How are you feeling about factions cycle 4 so far?
Cycle 4 is definitely interesting. They, of course, have the limited meta in the Ultra League this time, and that definitely got a bit of a shakeup with the Slowpoke community today, because we're seeing a lot of the Galar Slowbros, some Slow Kings making an appearance, and, I mean, taking a look at the other metas, too, obviously we have the Catacomb returning, and then we have the Arcana, which looks quite interesting, so definitely having an interesting slate of metas this time around.
Now, are you on a factions team, sir?
Yes.
You are?
Yeah, we are the HomeSlice homies. It's basically just people from my Discord server, like my community. So yeah, I typically end up being the scrim partner a lot of the time. So I played a lot more previously, and now I'm a lot more focused on my content stuff. So I mainly just help kind of people scrim behind the scenes and then sub in as needed.
And just because I'm going to drill you because you're factions, of course, you're my guest. We're having specialty. We're talking about metas. Where would you have fallen in Cycle 4 here? Open Great League, Justicar Ultra League now that you've got your slow bro, or are you looking more towards Field Specialist? I'll
be honest, the most recent time I subbed in was actually for Master League, so I've been upping my repertoire so I can kind of sub in as needed there. So
sir, making those Pokemon for your videos sure has helped out the team sub in for sure. That's great,
absolutely,
man. That's wonderful. Well, I hope your team does really well in NA Diamond, as we are going to be focusing on the LATAM Emerald, and it is a very tight LATAM Emerald. If you took out Infinity Go Black, Infinity Go White, and Infinity Rainbow, because this organization has such strong top-tier elite battlers throughout that they have literally made up the LATAM Emerald tier for almost 2 cycles now, like 2 seasons now. It's been wonderful to watch them, and we have the amazing Infinity Go Black here today. So we're going to take a dive in there as they are fighting the Elite 4. Our first matchup we'll look at is the Open Great League. With that wonderful mix-up that they've given us in this cycle, and we're going to head down into the arena battlefield and see who our first matchup is for the Open Great League. And we are here looking at Great League, and HomeSliceHenry. I've already talked about fangirling out about people I know, but Big Green is in the house, and if that's not one of my favorites from back home, we got he's battling up against E4 Christian Diaz. Have you come across these battlers in any of your journeys, sir?
The names do sound familiar, so it's definitely possible that I battled them at some point.
Top tier battlers. So we are in for a treat as it is Open Great League, and we are looking at their matchups now. And you know what, Henry, let me know what you think on in these matchups here. Let me know what your thoughts are.
All right, so taking a look at these matchups here, for Big Green, one Pokemon that I do kind of like the look of is Umbreon. Of course, Umbreon has, I would say, a decent amount of neutral play across the board, and that can be quite nice. Of course, the Chestnut could be a bit scary, but I do like Umbreon's ability to have some neutral play for Big Green. And then for Christian Diaz, taking a look at this team as well, we do see some picks that do have a decent amount of flexibility as well. I do like the Galarian Stunfisk. The Stunfisk does have some pretty decent play into a lot of what Big Green could run. It also, importantly, has some neutral play into that Umbreon, which could be a bit of a concern.
Yeah, noticing those teams, that Umbreon is a huge concern there. The Chestnut is such an interesting pick there by Christian Diaz. Now, I understand the thought process is to, like, a fighter in grass, you're trying to find grass to cover the waters, I think that's a great idea. I don't think Big Green was the opponent he wanted that Chestnut with. As you see, he's got ice and he's got Skarmories and all that stuff. And I just want to say that if that Alolan Ninetales isn't rocking Powder Snow, Big Green is missing an opportunity here, because that ice typing is real oppressive against E4 Christian Dios's lineup there. But we're going to get into these battles here in just a second as we're finishing up the talk here. I like the idea of the Umbreon. You said it's just tanky, it's there, it's thick. Another tank too is that Cresselia, and both battlers I see are going with tanks, could be used as their save.
Absolutely. So we will have to see, as you mentioned, a lot of bulk on both sides here. Another pretty bulky pick is that Defense Deoxys. As we hop into the first match and we see a Skarmory lead into the Chestnut, as this is exactly what Skarmory was hoping to see. We're going to see an immediate save switch into the Frostlass, and there is the trusty Umbreon to answer it. Umbreon not only has the type advantage in this matchup, but the bulk advantage as well. Avalanche, a pretty nice move, but as you're going to see against Umbreon, it just does very negligible damage here.
Absolutely did nothing. I think Umbreon's just shook it off. Did we not see the animation of it shaking it off? Big Green coming in huge with the lead call and getting this what looks like an RPS. You still don't know what the third Pokemon is off of Christian Dios' side, so it's not over yet. The Umbreon building up the energy, giving up a shield. I like this play, keeping his Umbreon healthy with all that energy to force pressure onto his further opponents. Christian gave up the shield for the Frostlass, so we'll see if he's going to give up the second shield here on this Dark Pulse.
And a very interesting choice here, choosing to run Dark Pulse over Foul Play. Dark Pulse is slightly more expensive, but is actually the slightly better move. So a bit of an interesting choice there on the Umbreon, opting for a slightly harder hitting move, but it is slightly more difficult to get to. So we do see all shields used here, going for the Dark Pulse, and there we see the switch. The Frostlass is actually preserved, and we see another tank we were talking about earlier. In comes the Galarian Stunfisk.
Yeah, it actually kind of looked like he wanted to throw the Dark Pulse onto that. The Frostlass came out immediately. The Dark Pulse didn't do much, and the G-Fisk is now there. All three Pokemon have been revealed. Skarmory is sitting in the back waiting for that Chestnut. Frostlass is in with half health. Those Weather Balls do put on that ground pressure damage, even though that Steel typing and defense is so strong on G-Fisk, and the Rock Slides are going to be super effective. Look at that pressure that Ninetales is doing, and if I was a betting man, I'd say Big Green knows that if you're swapping in a G-Fisk, giving that Dark Pulse damage off first and making it into the Deep Red was the way to go, so he can get his next Pokemon to come out to bring in more energy.
And as we see, Rock Slide, not quite enough to KO the Ninetales, as interestingly enough, the opponent actually stopped attacking there, trying to get some farm onto the Frostlass. The opponent hoping that Frostlass with energy is going to be deadly in this endgame. Umbreon with Dark Pulse is going to get outpaced here, as Frostlass with energy looks to be a bit of a problem here in the endgame. In comes the Skarmory. If Skarmory can manage to survive the Frostlass, then Skarmory has a fantastic matchup into the Chestnut, but getting through the Frostlass is going to be the difficult part here. We're going to see the Avalanche fired by the Frostlass. That deals big damage onto the Skarmory. Skarmory farming up here, looking for the farm down, and gets it. Skarmory able to get rid of the Frostlass, and now Skarmory is looking incredibly deadly in the end game. We do know there is the full health Chestnut, but that takes double super effective from flying. In comes the Chestnut, and with no shields remaining, there is nothing to protect the Chestnut from the double super effective Sky Attack. Sky Attack is going to one-shot the Chestnut. In comes the Galarian Stunfisk. Stunfisk gets farmed down. And as we see Skarmory able to leverage a very positive lead, maintaining alignment throughout and getting the game 1 win.
It actually was a lot closer than I thought. It looked really hard wall, but then he sacrificed the shields to keep Frostlass in the game longer, and that was a great play. And actually, He wanted that switch timer. I think his downfall there was that he swapped in the Frostlass and locked his switch timer up, because you can tell he wanted to make that catch, and good on Big Green for recognizing that and throwing Sky Attack first instead of just going with that Brave Bird and losing all the energy, because if he caught on a Brave Bird and lost all that energy on this on his Skarmory, then the Chesnaught could have had an opportunity to get in there. But Big Green making the right adjustments. Christian Dios trying to get a point back for his team. As Skarmory comes in on the lead, onto the Diggersby. Seems like Big Green likes that lead, but the big thick bunny is back, Henry. It is back, and it is with a vengeance on those mud shots.
And here's the bit of a tricky thing about this matchup. Skarmory is a flying type, Diggersby a ground type. It might seem on paper that Skarmory has the advantage here, but thanks to Fire Punch, Diggersby does actually have a very favorable matchup here, as Fire Punch is able to hit for super effective damage onto the Skarmory, and due to Diggersby's absolutely massive bulk, it can definitely take some hits here. They're going to be firing off the Sky Attack into the Diggersby. I am expecting a no shield, and we do see Diggersby letting them move through, throwing on picture perfect timing, and going for Fire Punch number 2 here. Likewise, we are going to see Skarmory with the no shield here, as the second Fire Punch does get Skarmory into the yellow, going for another move, but just gets outpaced by that Diggersby.
This third Fire Punch will take Skarmory to the red, and this is dangerous. So the thought is he going to save it for backup? No, he's throwing now. Might use Skarmory as a third shield, or might just let it go to keep that switch. We'll have to find out what Big Green does after the Brave Bird gets shielded. And there it is. Mud Shots, even though that was severely dropped of defense, still does nothing to that Skarmory. The Ninetales rocking that Powder Snow like we talked about earlier. It's a great opportunity here for that ice. And look at that. Gonna take the Fire Punch and know that it's not gonna do that much damage, and he can farm up. He's in shield advantage. Kind of feels like it's still safe for Big Green here.
I do like the use of the Diggersby here, able to make it to multiple Fire Punches and just apply a lot of pressure onto the Ninetales. Ninetales not able to farm down. We see a third Fire Punch reached, and that farm down that Diggersby was able to get versus the Skarmory ends up being able to grab that shield back. We actually see a switch into the Galarian Stunfisk here, preserving that low health Diggersby for a potential catch later in the match. We are going to see the Weather Ball fired off here onto the Stunfisk. Weather Ball does hit for neutral, but it's not the strongest move, and as we mentioned in the beginning, Galarian Stunfisk quite tanky, able to absorb the damage here. Looks like we are setting up a battle of the neutral tanks, Galarian Stunfisk versus that Umbreon in the end game. Very precise counting from the opponent here, firing off the Rock Slide just before the Ninetales makes it to another charge move. We are going to see the no shield on the Rock Slide, so putting all hope into the Umbreon in the end game.
Ooh, 2 shields on the Umbreon, right? I couldn't tell. 1 shield left on the Umbreon. Sorry, there's some messages going on, but yes, that Bear Trap Clamp was going hard as Umbreon is now in the game. It does not look like it's going to be easy for Umbreon to get the win for Big Green, as that Bear Trap G-Fist is just chomping away at everything. Not gonna lie, that Diggersby has been huge in a lot of more open Great Leagues now, and paved the way here for this G-Fist. And we still don't know what the third Pokemon is in the back. Great call there on the Earthquake by Big Green. That would have taken him down to the yellow, and he can't afford that, especially if it's a... Oh my god, did he just catch with the with the Diggersby?
Yep,
I thought I saw Mud Shot go through. Oh, he's so mad. You see the tapping. He's so mad.
That is an absolutely beautiful catch there by the opponent, wasting the Dark Pulse. And as we mentioned, the third Pokemon is still unknown at this moment, and it's revealed to be the Frostlass. So having that energy would have been very advantageous for the Umbreon, as Umbreon is going to be firing off the Dark Pulse here. Dark Pulse will do quite a bit of damage, but Umbreon does not have the highest attack stat ever. So Frostlass is going to be able to survive that move and make it to the Avalanche. Avalanche not going to be enough to KO here. This is going to be a very tricky endgame for the Umbreon. Umbreon will have to manage energy very carefully. Avalanche is going to be getting them quite low. Umbreon farming up as much as possible. Not quite at the back-to-back Dark Pulses, though. Umbreon is just short here. Umbreon is going to be firing off the Dark Pulse, but I believe the G-Fisk does have some energy. In comes the G-Fisk, saved the energy from earlier as the timer for the match begins the countdown. G-Fisk goes for the rock slide. It's enough. And that's game over.
Woo! So a point back for E4 Christian. Getting that back, great. That Diggersby lead was so huge. And not gonna lie, Big Green calculating that energy preservation for that Frostlass and everything too was so point on getting it for him, but it didn't work out as he's going to lead Umbreon in game 2 right into his G-Fisk. So now Umbreon versus G-Fisk, we know it's Dark Pulse. This is kind of where he wants Umbreon on. Like, yes, he's got a Frostlass that he might have to be worried about, but there is a Diggersby on Big Green's side this time.
And interestingly enough, we do see running a team that is actually ABA weak to the Chestnut, but after Chestnut encountered that Skarmory in game 1, it seems like that Chestnut may have been scared off from being used, as Chestnut unfortunately does not have a lot of targets into this team. We are going to see that Dark Pulse connect. Umbreon committed an early shield in this matchup, and Umbreon, as I mentioned, it's a pretty neutral matchup into the Galarian Stunfisk, but if you're able to correctly shield Earthquakes, then this is definitely a matchup that can tilt quite heavily into the Umbreon's favor. And as we can see, we actually see a switch into the Diggersby. So, switching from one tank to another, trying to absorb some energy here onto the Diggersby, and it's the Earthquake. Earthquake is able to connect. Opponent is going to send in the Cresselia, so Pokemon we have not seen yet. Cresselia can run the legacy move of Grass Knot, which would hit for super effective damage, but even this, Diggersby is so tanky that a Grass Knot is not going to be lethal here. Earthquake is going to be deployed. That lands onto the Cresselia. Cresselia looking to overfarm quite a bit of energy here, and now Cresselia is going to launch its first move.
Did our opponent bring in 2 Pokemon weak to Umbreon? We'll have to find out, as Cresselia, that psychic typing, really thick. Come on. Oh, there it is. Big Green was like, no, I called for Earthquake. Cresselia, another tank, doesn't care about Earthquakes. We saw it barely do about 40% of her health. Still alive. Can he get to the Fire Punch? No. Gonna let the tanky Pokemon go through without giving up a shield and bring in this next tanky Pokemon to snarl down and soak up that energy.
All right, going to be waiting the timer here a little bit, and then we do see the Umbreon being brought in, but can't quite snarl down. Going to let them move through onto the Umbreon here. Cresselia did make it to the Moonblast, and that's going to hit for super effective damage. We see a pivot into the Galarian Stunfisk, saving that Cresselia for potential catch later in the match. And we saw that work out in game 2, so trying to make another catch potentially in game number 3. Now we are going to see a pivot into the Alolan Ninetales as the charge move is thrown by the Galarian Stunfisk here. Stunfisk went for the Earthquake, and that's a pretty big catch, as Ninetales can typically be KO'd by 2 Rock Slides, but in this situation, was able to successfully make that Stunfisk waste its energy by throwing an Earthquake in a situation where it didn't want to.
Henry, Rock Slides are super effective and their energy, like, efficient. The Earthquake has thrown me for sure, especially because it wasn't a catch or anything, but throws the Earthquake and dips, and Ninetales is now loaded with energy. Again, more energy onto this Ninetales. Like, Big Green, you're scaring me out, man. Like, what are you doing? But there's a play rough going on. This should force the shield or do some effective damage onto this Frostlass. And remember, that Umbreon has energy in the back. So now Big Green, God, imagine not shielding a play rough and having to give up a shield for a Weather Ball. This could be the factor for the Frostlass. Oh, it does! Has to give up that last shield. Tries to make the catch on the Cresselia and doesn't work out, as the Umbreon now has almost a Dark Pulse and a half to KO Frostlass and get the third point and the third game and the second point for Big Green and Infinity Go Black. GG's. Sir, what did you see in these matchups? In these battles? These were epic. These were great.
I saw some very nice, like, energy management as well as great switches throughout. Like, game 2 ended up being won with a catch, and then in game 3 it was actually Big Green's chance to return the favor, so to speak, catching the Earthquake onto that Alolan Ninetales. Ended up being extremely impactful as he was able to shield, farm down, and then it went to a guessing game. Do I full send the nuke? Do I bait? Opponent calls the bait, full sends the Dazzling Gleam, and from there, that pretty much sealed game 3 there. So Infinity Go Black starting off 2-1 in the Great League, and now I believe looking to expand that lead as we move into the limited Ultra League meta.
Just a car Ultra League. It is here. We finally have a limited Ultra League meta in Justicar Cup. Very fun, very interesting breakdown here. Henry, have you looked at Ultra League Justicar Cup?
I have, yes.
Oh, good.
Especially with, as we mentioned earlier, the Slow Bro Community Day. That giving a lot of those Pokemon Surf, finally giving them a bait move, has definitely had a pretty big influence on the Justicar meta. And as you do take a look at the teams here, it looks like we have mirror Galarian Slow Bros here from both competitors.
Yeah, mirror Galarian Slow Bros, but one is bringing Electric and one is bringing Cobalion. So that is a really interesting matchups all together. One bringing double water. Ooh. That Ampharos is looking really good on Kakasas' side for sure, and Magneton as well. Or unless I'm missing it. Am I missing it? Does Ampharos not look good? Because I've not done too much Justicar Cup. I'm gonna tell you,
Ampharos
I'm not an
does,
Ultra League, but in this matchup, Ampharos looks pretty stacked.
It does have a lot of neutral play into things, which is nice. On a Bestia Max's side, I was thinking the Confusion Galarian Slowbro looks very, very nice. Because as we take a look across the opponent's team, they only have one Pokemon that resists Confusion in Magneton. So it does seem like that Slowbro could potentially put in quite a bit of work here, just purely based on the fact that only 1 of 6 Pokemon can resist that fast move, and Confusion, as we know from Pokemon like Hypno, can definitely add up in terms of damage.
So I gotta ask you then, are we leading with it, or are we keeping it in the back, Henry? Are we leading with, is Bestie Max leading with that Slowbro?
That's a bit of a tough call, but I would say odds are in these matches, we should probably see a decent amount of Slowbro. And one thing I do like about Bestia Max's team as well is Bestia Max, the Slowbro looks very good, but also has several Confusion resistances on his own team, so that way he's not as weak to the opponent's Galarian Slowbro. So I do like that team building aspect here, but yeah, I'm not sure if we'll see it in the lead or in the back, but my guess is we'll see a decent amount of Galarian Slowbro for sure.
I think we're going to be confused down because there's a Gallade out there as well, which is going to be interesting to watch if E4 bring it. But Bestia Max swaps out immediately, and here comes the Gengar into that Magneton. You said it, the Magneton resisting that Confusion, leads with it. A great call there by E4 as Gengar is giving up his first shield. Now, what is the moveset on Gengar? Let's find out. It looks like it's Shadow Claw and Shadow Ball. Gengar, a resourceful amount of movesets. The Shadow Ball, though, a great charge for it as he throws his first Shadow Punch. The Community Day Shadow Punch.
And does grab a shield from the Ampharos. Ampharos, of course, can potentially learn Brutal Swing, which would hit for super effective damage here. We do see the shield being deployed as Ampharos does go for the Brutal Swing. You're going to see Shadow Punch number 2 deployed by the Gengar, always building up to the Shadow Ball, trying to grab a shield from the opponent here. That is going to get the second shield, which is quite nice. Going for the Shadow Punch and winning CMP over the Ampharos. This means Ampharos is not going to be able to farm up any more energy as they are going to be stuck throwing this Brutal Swing. Shadow Punch, not going to do a lot of damage, but why this is nice is this can potentially set a farm for one of the other Pokemon here. We are going to see Gengar is going to not quite get KO'd as we see a very nice undercharge by the opponent. And now in comes the Skuntank. Skuntank looking to farm up on energy here. Ampharos makes it to a move. This is enough. Let's see, are they running Thunder Punch as their secondary charge move here? And they are not. So they go for the Brutal Swing. So they are running a Nuke move to pair with that, cheaper move. In comes the Magneton. And Magneton at an energy disadvantage here. Shields are down. Magneton is on the glacier side of things. Crunch is going to be deployed by the Skuntank. That's going to get them low. In comes the Scrafty, and in the back is Como-O. Como-O, a bit scary to be honest, for this Scrafty, as Como-O can run close combat, which would hit for super effective damage.
Would take that Scrafty out, and that Magneton left in the deep red doesn't want to see anything. Will he get another charge move off? No, tried to get to that foul play, but Como now loaded for that close combat, and maybe one more Dragon Tail away from that Dragon Claw, as close combat is gonna go, and there's the Dragon Tail 2, and there it is, building up the energy. Beautifully done. That undercharge was so good. Perfect enough to get him one tap, enough to just get 2 Shadow Claws. Nothing gonna happen. But Magneton hasn't thrown anything, I don't believe. Can he farm it down in time? Oh, the 2-turn move took out the 5-turn move faster and gets to the crunch. The Magneton in the red. I mean, this is overkill, but goodbye. And you can go back to your Pokeball, as Skuntank has Crunch, but not Flamethrower in this matchup.
My goodness, the decision by Como-O to go for the Dragon Claw there, instead of trying to make it to a second close combat, looms large, because with the Dragon Claw, unfortunately, the Dragon Tails were not enough to KO, and Skuntank able to hang on, make it to a last second move, and get rid of the Magneton.
I would say
Bestia Max able to clutch a, what was definitely up in the air throughout, but a very narrow Game 1 victory.
Yeah, I would say that that was the great process, and it was just whether or not the processing of the game went through on that fast move or not. But beautiful, beautiful. I mean, Skuntank literally lived with 1 HP. Could you see that red anywhere? No. But there's the lead on the Slowbro right into the Tentacruel. If this is confusion, Slowbro, that Tentacruel's poisons does not want to see it. Immediate swaps out, and Ampharos is back on the field. We know that Ampharos is rocking the brutal swing, so it's building up all the energy. And no, Cobalion comes out to greet it. Will it greet it with a focus blast to the face, or will it just see a brutal swing? Oh!
We see the shield, and it's a Zap Cannon! Okay.
Yeah! Look at that! Zap Cannon, the attack drop didn't go through. Cobalion now with tons of energy and 2 Sacred Swords.
And we actually see a very interesting secondary charge move there from the Cobalion. Cobalion, often known for Stone Edge, but I believe is actually running Iron Head instead. So a very interesting choice, opting for the same type attack bonus on Iron Head instead of the Stone Edge. We are going to see a shield deployed by the Ampharos. Ampharos able to make it to another move. Decision time for Cobalion. Only 1 shield remaining here. Cobalion lets it through. It's another Zap Cannon, and down goes Cobalion.
All the energy is gone, and Scrafty is here to play now. Goodbye. 2 counters in, and now he's 2 more away, or 3 away from a power-up punch, drawing back out that poison typing. He's got the foul play ready to go. It seems like after you tap, it's going to take a minute, but foul play is there, and foul play goes off, unshielded, and immediate swaps. Great job by Infinity Go Black to make that adjustment and catch whatever Tentacruel is about to throw. It is oh, I don't know, what was that? Scald. That's right, it was Scald, and it is
Scald.
I did not know if Gallade was gonna come out, and Gallade is here to play, Henry.
And that is a very interesting choice from the opponent, choosing to bench the Magneton, the only confusion resist available on the team. And now this Slowbro with energy is looking so deadly. Now going to be firing off the Surf, the new Calm Day move, and gets a shield from the Gallade. In comes the Scrafty. These counters are resisted. Gallade, of course, does have access to close combat. We are going to see a shield being used by the Scrafty here. Opponent is going to go for it and not able to land the close combat. Going for the foul play. They're debuffed, but taking no chances, wanting to get rid of this Gallade. But the thing is, there's still that Tentacruel in the back. The Tentacruel did take 2 confusions of damage, so this is not quite foul play range, but this is approaching. Scrafty farming up, making it to the foul play. I believe that's a CMP tie here. This is going to be very close in this endgame. Ultra League Tentacruel, very tanky. Going for the foul play. Not enough to KO. Can Scrafty hang on here? This is going to be close. Moment of truth. Tentacruel firing off the Scald into the Scrafty. Scrafty hangs on, gets the counter down, and now has a 2-0 advantage with 1 game remaining.
Bestia Max, a beast of a play there. The confusion on the Gallade, bringing in the Scrafty in the back, beautifully done, well played all around. Like, you can't, like, just applaud that. The Ampharos came out, and the Ampharos had to take a seat to the other Pokemon. Like, Caucus did everything he tried to do to avoid Slowbro onto Tentacruel, and yet, even after that, Tentacruel still got 2 confusion down, and that foul play didn't do, oh no, sorry, that Skull didn't do enough on that Scrafty that he wanted it to.
And we did see there, we mentioned it in the beginning, that confusion Galarian Slowbro putting in so much work for Bestia Max. And now, it always feels like a little bit of a game of cat and mouse here. He didn't bring the Slowbro game 1, and the opponent was anticipating it, brought the Magneton, benches the Magneton game 2, just for the Slowbro to come back. So in game 3, does Bestia Max bring the Slowbro here? We see a Cobalion on the lead into the Magneton, was able to bait back the Magneton onto the field, and now it's in a terrible matchup versus Cobalion. Opponent is going to safe switch into Gallade. Gallade, these confusions hitting for neutral, but Cobalion has a trick up its sleeve here. It is not running the standard Stone Edge. It is running Iron Head here. Cobalion goes for the Iron Head. That connects onto Gallade, and now in comes old reliable, the Confusion Galarian Slowbro. Now, Slowbro does resist Gallade's typical moveset unless they're running something like Psychic or Synchronoise, and we do see the Psychic deployed by the Gallade. Gallade running a bit of a spicy moveset here, but not able to make it to another move, as we do see the Confusion farm down by the Slowbro. Slowbro is low on HP, but does leave with a nice amount of energy here, and that Magneton is not the tankiest. In comes the Magneton, Slowbro farming up to the back-to-back Surfs. Surf does not get same type attack bonus, but it is definitely going to add up since Magneton just does not have a lot of bulk in the Ultra League. We do see a shield deployed. Slowbro making it to another Surf here, looking to continue to apply pressure onto the Magneton.
That overtap scared me there, because Thunder Shocks are just coming in hot from Caucasus side, Caucasus Magneton. And now it's loaded with energy, but I am surprised. I was like, oh, Psychic on a Gallade, that's shocking. No, the damage it didn't do onto that poison Slowbro, even more shocking, as you're gonna see the Zap Cannon go off onto the Cobalion and immediate swapped out from that Gallade, or from the Magneton into the Como-O, as another Iron Head is gonna go off onto that Como-O. There is 1 shield left on both battlers, and in comes that Scrafty. Basically saying, like, debuff yourself, pal. Want you locked in debuff so that I can come in and farm even better down the line on my 3rd Pokemon. So there it is.
Going for the power-up punch here, trying to get as much damage as possible. And the counter did go through, but choosing not to protect the Scrafty here, which is a very interesting choice. And the opponent baited. What a call! Calling the Dragon Claw, and that's going to be game over here, as this is going to mean the end of Como-O. And unfortunately for the Magneton, it may have a shield left, but all that's left is fighting type fast moves. Magneton gets KO'd, and that's a decisive 3-0 victory for Bestia Max.
Wow, that Scrafty, just because it had a counter doesn't mean it cared about your shield, especially if you're turning counter into charm against a steel typing with very little defense. Well done by Bestia Max, swapping out the Pokemon. We saw Cobalion a lot. We saw the Slowbro come in game 3 and game 2. Like, well done by him by hiding it in game 1 and really going after his opponents there in game 2 and 3. That Community Day Surf was so good. It was a little scary there, that overtap, but able to make it work and get 3 points for the board. And now it is 5-1 Infinity Go Black here. That is right, we're in the Master League class now, Henry, and this is where you shine. This is your area, and you get to talk about my good friend Lemon Lime, as he's going to be looking at his opponent Twin Roba. So, please, I know nothing about Master League. There are mega Pokemon involved. Like, I'm so excited to see all this. Give me your insight, sir. Let me know. Let the audience know the insight. Give us some good insight, because I won't be able to do anybody justice.
Yeah, so this will be a very interesting matchup here. So Lemon Lime is choosing one of the most powerful Mega Pokemon you can, which is going to be the Mega Gengar. Now, Mega Gengar, much like the regular version that we saw in Justicar, can output a tremendous amount of damage, but that's definitely balanced by the fact that it is on the glacier end of Master League Pokemon, so it can be very scary in a shield advantage or energy lead situation, but unfortunately, if it just doesn't have those shields, then it becomes a lot more beatable. Then we see Twin Roba. His Mega is going to be the Mega Charizard X. Charizard can run a variety of fast moves. As of late, typically Wing Attack ends up being preferred just due to the quick energy generation, but Dragon Breath is also an option. As we take a look across the teams here, I do quite like the look of that Mega Charizard X for Twin Roba here, just for its ability to hit for some pretty significant damage against basically everything Lemon Lime has. And a bit of a sleeper pick could potentially be the Xerneas for Twin Roba. Xerneas has Tackle as the fast move, so it's very slow to get to charge moves, but it does have a decent amount of bulk, and its charge moves hit very hard. So if you can get in like an end game shields down situation, Xerneas can put in a lot of work as long as the opponent does not have shields in play. So this will be very interesting to see. In the Master League, it oftentimes ends up being a bit of a dance. Is my opponent using their Mega early? Are they saving it for later? And how can I best use mine to counteract it? So we should have some very exciting battles coming up here. And yeah, let's just hop into them. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. Let's hop into them. We're going to start that up. And I'm looking at these teams, and you know what? I know this is crazy. If Charizard isn't rocking any fire, I feel like, and I guess Gyarados isn't rocking Waterfall either. No, I guess you can't play Metagross. I was about to say Metagross looks really good without that fire, but man, with Gyarados, you don't know what you're going to get. With Kyogre, you don't know, but we're going to see right now as Gyarados is rocking the Dragon Breath onto that Hydrogian. Hydrogian got its Brutal Swing Community Day move earlier last year, so now it's been able to enter the Master League, and look at that, going right for it right off the bat. The Gyarados with its Community Day Aqua Tail not quick enough, as it's going to take that damage, and that Best Buddy shiny red Gyarados is going back to its Pokeball.
And very interesting, we do see a Kyogre save switch into the Dragon type Hydreigon here. So this is not necessarily a fantastic matchup for Kyogre, but after getting the chip damage with Dragon Breath, Kyogre can definitely put in some work. That Brutal Swing hurt a lot though. We are going to see a switch into a Kyogre mirror, and let's see. Is Kyogre can run a variety of nuke charge moves here. Is it Thunder? Is it Origin Pulse? We see a Shield, and it's a Surf bait. That has to feel very unfortunate. Farming up, not going to get the farm down, so going to opt for the Surf here. Decision time for the opponent. Opponent's Kyogre has a lot of energy, but it's very low on health, and we do see the Shield used, wanting to get to that nuke move, and gets there. And we see the no shield here from Lemon Lime. Let's see what the opponent is running. They are running Thunder, and Thunder is going to get the Kyogre very low. Lemon Lime's Kyogre able to hang on with a sliver of HP here. In comes the Gyarados. Gyarados did not ever throw its energy on Hydreigon, so Gyarados' energy could prove to be quite problematic for that Mega Gengar in the back. As I mentioned in the beginning, Mega Gengar very strong with a shield advantage or an energy lead, but it's now at a pretty severe energy disadvantage. Tries to go for the catch, but the catch is not happening, and in comes Cobalion. Cobalion going to be met with the Brutal Swing here from Hydreigon. That's going to be resisted, and now all that's left is the Mega Gengar. Gengar is going straight for the Shadow Ball here. This could be a massive turning point in the matchup. Does the opponent call the bait? Do they shield the nuke here? Shadow Ball gets shielded by the Cobalion. And things are looking very rough for Mega Gengar. As you know, the Gyarados has so much energy in the back. Going to let this go. Recognizing Gyarados has too much energy in the back, Cobalion lands the Stone Edge, and that deals a lot of damage here. Gengar farming up, Unfortunately, Cobalion not about to let that happen. Cobalion firing off another charge move here. This is going to be the triple resistant Sacred Sword. It's not going to be enough to KO, and going for the Shadow Ball. This Shadow Ball is going to be lethal. Question is, does Gyarados have double Aqua Tail here? Gyarados is incredibly low on health. In comes the Gyarados. It can't get there, and Mega Gengar takes the game.
Didn't matter, buddy. Didn't matter. Didn't matter. Lemon Lime holding on to that shield with all knowing that Gyarados had all that energy. I lost track of the counts, and I don't know all the Sacred Sword counts, but calling the Sacred Sword right there was so huge by him. Was so good. Wow, my man. I was like, oh no. The Kyogre play too. Yes, he got baited with the Surf, but he turned it into his favor, allowing Thunder to go in the second one, but still able to get his Surf off to force his opponent's shield to even out that shield matchup. That caliber play got him so that Gengar could just come in and just throw and throw and throw. And that opened up for him as he's going to lead with Kyogre now into that Gyarados. A better situation for him, I believe, because of the waterfalls. But we'll see what the Dragon Breaths do to that Kyogre, because after Hydrogen threw that Brutal Swing, opponent's Kyogre had nothing left in the tank, deep red. But Gyarados is still sticking around, and here we go. The first move, it is a Surf Bait. Will they shield? Will they shield, Henry? Will shield baited! He returns the favor and says, I can shield too with Surf. I can bait too with Surf, sir.
And we do see Kyogre running Thunder. Thunder, of course, does have the one-shot potential into the Gyarados. Crunch is thrown. We do see the defense drop on Kyogre. Kyogre very low on health here. We see a catch, catching the Thunder onto, I believe that was the Mega Charizard X. And importantly, this is not a flying type. It's a fire dragon, so that is going to be resisted. Charizard is going to be met with the Gyarados here. The Dragon Breath is adding up on the Charizard. Charizard has farmed up some energy here. Let's see. We see a shield from the Gyarados. Charizard baits with a Dragon Claw and able to grab a shield from the Gyarados. Gyarados farming up a ton of energy here and gets the farm down. Charizard not able to make it to a move. Going to blind throw the Crunch, and in comes an opponent's Kyogre here. Kyogre was able to get through a full waterfall because the Crunch was thrown on alignment. Crunch does get the defense drop. That is very unfortunate. Going for another Crunch on alignment. So some unfortunate charge move timing here is giving the opponent potentially the win conditions that they need to find in this match. Gonna bank a Surfer later, send in the Gyarados. Gyarados makes it to the Aqua Tail. This is non-lethal, but it will be getting the opponent's Gyarados into a very precarious situation here. The Aqua Tail is going to be shielded. Actually, at that health range with the Dragon Breath, it may have just been enough to KO. We see Mega Gengar in the back. Gengar has a shield, but Gyarados has some energy here. Gengar, thinking about it, calls it. It's the Crunch, and that deals massive damage. Gengar sends in Kyogre, gets the catch. What a beautiful catch. Oh my goodness, things are getting intense here. Went for the Aqua Tail. That is going to, we see an undercharge to get an extra Dragon Breath there. Very nicely done. In comes Mega Gengar, and that should just about be game here, I believe.
There is a shield still, my friend.
They have a shield, but Kyogre has a move.
Oh no, the Kyogre in the back!
Saved it for later. If you remember, took all that energy from the Gyarados, banked the Surf for later, switched out, and able to execute a beautiful combo play and even up this series at 1-1.
Well done to keep the energy on that Kyogre. The Surf in the back was huge. The third charge move coming off that Gyarados too on that Gengar, I thought for sure Gengar survived. The Mega Gengar survived with like 2 HP in a dream, and it didn't. It was very tough for Gengar uphill battle. Great job on Twinroba. Lemon Lime making the adjustments. The catch on the Charizard, that was the big key right there. All of the energy gone, and it didn't even do much. Super effective if it was a Surf against that Fire Dragon, but not against with that Thunder, or the Thunder, right? It does not do anything to that Dragon typing. So Lemon Lime having to play around that, and here we go as we're going to get Kyogre lead into Kyogre League, and now we're going to play this bait game. Who's going to splash around the best?
And this is going to be an interesting one because we know they both are running Thunder, which can inflict massive super effective damage, but this is going to always be a dance. Who baits, who nukes, and who shields. Going for the Thunder, and it looks to be a CMP tie here. So Lemon Lime choosing not to bait, hoping the opponent is going to try and call it, but we do see a shield from the opponent, and it's a CMP tie. This is a tough decision. Do you call a bait? We see the bait called here, hoping it's the Surf, and it is! What a call!
What a
Pivot
call!
into Hydreigon. Hydreigon will be answered with the Gyarados. Now, Hydreigon, due to its typing, is going to resist Gyarados' charge moves here. Gyarados running the standard Crunch and Aqua Tail, but the Dragon Breath, of course, will hit for super effective. We're going to see the Brutal Swing land. That does quite a bit of damage onto the Gyarados. Gyarados now into the red health. Gyarados has to throw some energy, but as we know, everything they throw here is going to be resisted. So Gyarados is going to be firing off the Crunch into Hydreigon. Crunch lands, defense falls, but makes the Brutal Swing with a sliver of HP remaining. Oh my goodness, Hydreigon just will not quit. Firing off the Brutal Swing into the Gyarados, and we're going to see the immediate no shield. In comes a Regice. Oh my goodness, we see the Mega Gengar in the back. Here's the thing, Regice only has nukes, and that is a bit scary for a Pokemon like Mega Gengar. Gengar farming up. Tried to go for the Shadow Ball there, but was just outpaced by the Regice here. Let's see what moveset is the Regice running. Regice goes for a Thunder. That would have hit for neutral. And now farming up here with the Mega Gengar. Gengar farming up and going for the Shadow Ball, not baiting. Shadow Ball from Mega Gengar would absolutely devastate this Regice. Shadow Ball lands. Regice able to hang on with a sliver of HP. That did massive damage, but not quite enough. We see the no shield from the Mega Gengar. It's the Earthquake that connects, saving it for later. And now we have a Kyogre mirror. But the unfortunate thing is that the opponent's Kyogre does have more energy here, which is quite scary. And I think the opponent is actually going to win this game by virtue of making it to double Surfs. Whereas, unfortunately, the opponent is not quite in double Surf range, and there we see it. The second Surf reached by the opponent. This Surf is going to be getting that Kyogre low. Kyogre makes it to one final move, but with a shield remaining from the opponent, this is an incredibly safe shield, considering the Regice has basically no HP remaining in the back. All that's left is Mega Gengar, tries to go for the move, but it's too little, too late.
That was a tough one, Lemon Lime, for sure. Giving up 2 matches there. So E4 gets back 2, so it is, what was that, 5-3 here? We're ending up 6-3, sorry, 6-3, because Lemon got 1 point there, and we always round up to 9. That Kyogre play was great. No Charizard this matchup there. You saw E4 really make the adjustment in game 3 there, taking out the Charizard. The leading of the Kyogres by both of them. It was really interesting. You thought with that bait that Lemon was going to take that matchup, but it ended up being going into E4's favor, and great play on the energy again. Kept the energy on everything, brought in the Gyarados to everything, and just basically led with it, and then had tons of energy, able to grab shield, put that pressure down for Pokemon like Gengar that was always brought. So GG's to E4 for getting 2 more points and getting back and closing that gap there. As now we're going to look at our fields. Are now looking at the field, and the specialty I love the most, where we get to really condense metas and find fun Pokemon. One field that we've seen countless times since Season 2 has been a wonderful meta for us battlers is the Catacombs Cup, and they brought it back here in this cycle, and I am so grateful with the new Pokemon that we have and some of the new bands that they're putting out. This Catacombs Cup feels really more open and gives us more lax, as you got Bug, Dark, Grass, Ice, and Rock typing, followed up with some add-ons. You got the Samurott add-on, the Sea King, the Melodic, and the Quillfish normal Johto, not Hisuian, so Johto Quillfish. With all that pressure out there, tons of bans. Did you play Catacombs Cup in any of the times it's come out, Henry?
I think I may have way back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, Catacombs was like where Shiftry shined a lot. There was a Frostlass. She was always... Frostlass is always dominant. I see the Crustle ban, and I'm kind of sad because that was the one during Catacombs, I think 2.0. Crustle really shone with the smackdowns and stuff like that. But with this meta here, we have Green Slash versus Alfonso, and they are bringing a lovely team here. As you see, the Frostlash Chestnut on Alfonso's team. I talked about this in my videos. These two cores cover everything. Like, whatever Frostlash doesn't have covered, Chestnut's got its back. Like, soft wins, soft losses, they help each other out. You throw an Umbreon on that team, and Alfonso looks really good. But there's also a Frostlash in the Barbaracle that is on that Green Slash team. And Barbaracle with access to the Fury Cutter and those Stone Edges can put some whopping hurt down on not just the Darks, but also those Frostlashes too, and that Lapras. There's a lot of stuff that Barbaracle looks really good on.
Absolutely. And one pick that I did want to highlight a bit for Green Slash is the Samurott. I don't believe that we had Hydro Cannon Samurott last time the meta was out. And Samurott does look very nice into Alfonso's team, as it can hit for neutral or super effective damage versus the entire team. So Samurott could definitely be a potential sleeper pick here for Green Slash, especially since it does have a bit of play into that Frostlash Chestnut core that we were talking about.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've been paying attention to all the Silph metas in the season that's been going on. Samurott has shown so much. Like, the prospects of Samurott, if you haven't been playing with Samurott since, like, Naiad Cup, like, get on it now. It's just been so amazing. So it's wonderful to see this new Pokemon add-on, as we are going to get into our first Arcana matchup here, or Catacombs matchup here. Green Slash versus Alfonso. Again, that Samurott being access to Jump Pluff 2 also got a new moveset with Fairy Wind. So now that we have that, again, the old meta's coming back with these new Pokemon adds and adjustments. Just make them so exciting. I kind of want to see them go back to Season 1 metas. Like, dip into that Rainbow Cup, dip into that Jungle Cup a bit. As we're going to get into our matchup, it is Jump Pluff into the Barbaracle. And, ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one, as these Fairy Winds are going to generate energy like a Mudshot would, but there really isn't that much that Barbaracle is afraid of. It can shield, it can take one of these Grass Knots, but the Stone Edge is building up and Barbaracle is going to be ready. It also has access to Cross Chop, but here comes the first shield.
Barbaracle, as we mentioned, does have access to Stone Edge, which would hit for quite a lot of damage here. But Barbaracle has to be very, very careful of the Energy Ball considering its typing. Barbaracle continuing to farm up here, going for another Energy Ball, and we do not see a switch from Barbaracle, so I have to imagine that we'll see the second shield deployed here. Energy Ball, we are going to see the second shield being used, and it looks like we may have actually seen a defense drop there from the Energy Ball.
We did get a defense drop. That barely happens. It's like 20% or 30%, you know, but the Stone Edge goes through, and look at that. You're right. Almost half the damage of the Jump Pluff is out, but it's the new Tropius, so it's tanky as it's going to throw its last Energy Ball and take out... Oh, the Skunk Tank! Did anybody see the swap? Did you see the swap happen? The Skunk Tank came in and soaked up that Energy Ball. Great job by Green Slash there to get the Skunk Tank in, and now it's going to throw what could be the Crunch or could be the Flamethrower. It is the Crunch. Will he get the debuff? No debuff off that Crunch, and it's Water Gun Lapras there soaking away that Skunk Tank and gets to that double surf now before Skunk King can get to the second Crunch.
All right, this surf, no shields remaining on the side of the Skuntank, so Skuntank is going to be KO'd. Barbaracle did lead with energy, and it's going to deploy it here. Barbaracle, of course, does have access to Cross Chop as well, and this is definitely Cross Chop range here. So we are going to see Barbaracle grabbing a shield, but Lapras going to be returning fire here with this neutral Silph onto Barbaracle. Silph is going to land. Barbaracle able to tank that decently well. Man, these water guns are adding up, forcing Barbaracle to throw. And now Barbaracle does not have a lot of energy remaining here. We do know, of course, there is still that jump bluff, but the jump bluff is on such low HP. In the back, there's a Fury Cutter Galvantula. We see a very cool moveset choice. And thanks to Fury Cutter, able to outpace the Umbreon, make it to a lunge. Not only is this getting a debuff, but this is going to hurt.
Didn't even think about the Galvantula rocking that Fury Cutter as well. 3 Pokemon on Green Slash's side rocking Fury Cutter, and I believe there are 3 Pokemon on Alfonso's side that have nothing to do with it. They absolutely want nothing to do with it. Fury Cutter, and you're gonna get to the second lunge. This should take out the Umbreon as that Fury Cutter just built up that energy so quickly. Goodbye, Umbreon. Galvantula sitting strong. Jumpluff still has a lot of health, but Fury Cutter's just chunking away. That bug typing says goodbye, and Jumpluff is down. GG's. 1 point to Green Slash. That was great. Was 2 Fury Cutters?
Yeah,
2 Fury Cutters in that matchup?
2 Fury Cutters being used. Interesting. Very interesting.
Looking at that team, why wouldn't you? You got Umbreon, you've got Jumpluff, you got Chestnuts. Why wouldn't you? I'm surprised Samurott didn't come out for a triple. But as Jumpluff is taking a bench as the lead, it will be Chestnut now. And it's up against the Fury Cutter Galvantula. Now, this point, Galvantula isn't running the Cross Poison. It's the only thing that on Galvantula's side that Chestnut would have to worry about, because it could also be running that Energy Ball. So we'll have to find out as it's going to throw its first Frenzy Plant. Even though it's not effective, half the health of that Galvantula is gone, my man. It is no longer there.
And we are going to see the lunge deployed. And now we see a pivot into the Skuntank. Skuntank looking for the farm. That's going to be denied, as now we see a Skuntank mirror here. Able to outpace, of course, with the energy lead and make it to the first crunch. And we see that this Skuntank not running Flamethrower, so only able to hit for resisted in this matchup. Crunch is going to connect. The question is, what is the opponent running? Do they have that neutral Flamethrower? We're going to see an immediate no shield here. Moment of truth. Is the opponent running the Flamethrower here? Yes, they are! Flamethrower rocks the Skuntank, but Skuntank able to hang on, make it to a last-second crunch before it gets KO'd.
This crunch is good. Chip damage, maybe the defense. If it even gets the shield, even better. And the defense proc in the favor of Alfonso. Now, that was great, but it's still off the table, and that Skuntank has energy again. Did you know that Skuntank rock Flamethrower? A lot better than having an Alolan Grimer, I was told. But the Flamethrower comes through, as you see here, and it does just a little bit of damage onto that Umbreon. And Umbreon now just soaking up all of that energy. Gonna give up the shield and is gonna just start unloading everything it's got here onto that Skuntank. Probably gonna do a bit more farm down too. Remember, Galvantula left with pretty bit of health. So it's cannot get farmed down. Have to throw a move on Galvantula, and it is another Fury Cutter, but I didn't get to see which Fury Cutter user is it. Which one is it out there, folks? Do you know? It's Samurott!
There we go. Samurott making its long-awaited debut into this matchup. Farm it up, and just picture perfect counting by the opponent here. Firing off a charge move. Umbreon is pretty bulky. Is Hydro Cannon going to be enough? It is not. Saving a move on the Umbreon and sending in the Chestnut. But Chestnut is low enough where even a resistant Hydro Cannon is going to threaten here. So Chestnut is going to be committing that final shield. No shields remaining for the rest of the match. In comes Galvantula. Gal not going to be able to be Vine Whipped down, so Chestnut forced to go for the Superpower here. Superpower will be lethal, but it will, of course, debuff the Chestnut. We see the shield from the Galv, and Galv gets to the move. So that is going to be getting rid of this Chestnut.
That is big. Still not revealing the second move. Has to be under the pressure that it's Energy Ball. But look at that. Galv it's more than a snarl to take out Galv from that point. Great job by Alfonso for understanding that. Tried so hard. It was so there. But that Samurott, that Fury Cutter, it's just too oppressive. Green Slash is slashing away at Alfonso's points as the teams here are now getting closer and closer to each other. E4 is not out of this matchup yet, as the field specialists are here to play. That Skunk Tank with Flamethrower on Green Slash's side, great call there, especially against this team as well. You don't really want to have Sludge on it, like it's great, but Flamethrower, you can put the neutral onto the Skunk Tank as well. So great job there by Green Slash. Will Alfonso bring his Skunk Tank back?
We're definitely going to need to see an adjustment here. We do see the Skunk Tank on the lead into the Umbreon, so Skunk Tank again going up against the Dark type here, but this is one where, unless it's throwing Last Resort here, I mean, the Snarls are going to be resistant, which is quite nice.
Yeah, very nice here, as you see those poisons just chunking away at Umbreon. Like, yeah, you're like, oh man, Umbreon's so tanky, but man, oh man, if you can find Poison or Fighter, you can really do some chunk damage. As there it goes, that Sludge Bomb goes in, and oh, the immediate catch! What a catch! You hope that's a foul play. You hope that's a foul play. It is not. It is a last resort. Great call by the opponent by putting the last resort. And back comes that Galvantula with Fury Cutter, Henry.
It is just insanely spammy here. But since Umbreon did get a Snarl in on the switch, able to make it to a move before the lunge debuff is applied, which is quite nice for the Umbreon. Umbreon farming up. Galv has so much energy here and going to start firing off these lunges. Going for lunge number 1 here. That is going to be getting that Umbreon deep into the red. Able to make it to another move. Putting some pressure on the Galv. Galv didn't shield the first move. If it shields here, it would actually be shielding less damage than it did the first time. So a bit of a mistake from the opponent there. Opponent might look to try and farm down here, and they're not going to be able to do that. Forced to throw a move. And this is going to be KOing the Umbreon.
It's really interesting, the Dark Pulse on the Umbreon there. Kind of maybe costing him some charge move pressure because of the energy that it generates. But man, does it hurt when it hits. As another lunge is going to come through on that Skunk Tank, getting it on the debuff, but now loaded with energy. There are 2 shields on Alfonso's side, 1 shield on Green Slash's side, and Lapras comes back out. Water Gun Lapras is here to play. It still leaves Water Gun and is making its move. Like, it is back, it is up, it's running. We've loved it back in Season 1 on Lantern. It was so good. Lapras is out here rocking it now in this Catacombs as that Skunk Tank throws the crunch and gets the debuff. But, oh,
farming
builds up.
Ooh, this is going to be a tough one. Does he shield?
I mean, the Skull Bash could KO it. Great shield, but great pick call by the Lapras.
And now going for another Surf here, not building up to the Skull Bash, but just needing the chip damage onto the Skunk Tank. That's going to get the Skunk Tank deep into the red. Skunk Tank firing off a final charge move. Lapras going to let this go. Thinking that Lapras has done its job here. They go for the crunch onto the Lapras. Not quite enough to KO, but the Poison Jab after will do the trick. And now we have a battle of Skunk Tanks looking for the farm down. Gets the farm down. And this is looking like it could be game over here as in comes the Umbreon. And Umbreon will be hit with the Sludge Bomb.
I said Flamethrower would have been better, but look at this. Alfonso is showing me why Sludge Bomb is just as good, as he held on to the shield, wondering if these battlers were ever going to use them for this last matchup to throw the charge move down and crunch this Dark Puppy and get a point back for his team. So great job by Alfonso to make sure he doesn't get 3-0'd and give his team a point so that they can stay in the lead. That is what you want to do in the factions. If you are having a really unfortunate matchup and you go down 0-2, don't beat yourself up. Don't take yourself out of it. There's still 1 point that you can get for your team, and that could change the whole difference for it. So great job by Alfonso to stay in that and not just throwing game 3 and playing beautifully there with that matchup at the end. As we are now done with that and looking at the score, it looks like Infinity Go is still, even though the gap got closed, they're still in a very strong lead. We're going to have to see what the second Catacombs matchup is going to look like now, as we are going to head into that. And now we are at the second part of Catacombs, sir. We saw Alfonso play his. Now it's Saruka. I've seen Saruka in numerous amounts of gym breakers all around here. Wonderful battler, extremely skilled, bringing in the Frostlass. No Chestnut this time. I think it's really Sudowoodo. Whether it's rock throw or counter, that's the best part. Like, what is Sudowoodo there for? You as the battle will have to say, because both battles are also rocking Galvantula, which could be Fury Cutters or Volt Switches. Like, I am just loving now the intricacies of the battling, where you can make Pokemon fit whatever type you need them to, and not just be the same typing. Oh, this is Umbreon. It is a Dark Tank. It is just gonna throw Dark Tank. Like, you've got play now. So what do you see, my friend, on these lovely Catacomb battle matchups?
It'll be very interesting here. I definitely think that from Saruka's side that we could see that Fury Cutter Galvantula return, as it does have some nice targets. Fury Cutter, of course, hitting for super effective versus the Umbreon, but also getting that neutral damage into Whimsicott is quite nice. Yeah. So I definitely wouldn't be surprised to see that. And then, as you mentioned, a bit of the Dark Horse is going to be the Sudowoodo, and that's going to be, is it rocking the counter for the Umbreon, or is it potentially running the Rock Throw for the Galvantula, the Frostlass? So that'll be a bit of a wild card here, as you mentioned. But I do think, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Fury Cutter Galvantula return from Saruka, because it does look like it has a lot of neutral play against the entire line.
Yeah, it does. It looks like we're gonna get with the jump left lead by Saruka too. I'm so excited, because moments like this where you like Sudowoodo, it could also just rock Earthquake and Meteor Beam. You really don't need Rock Slide in this meta. You could just throw those nukes and just go for fun. But we're gonna see, as we're gonna get right into the battles here, sir, as it's Jump Pluff right into that Whimsicott. Two Fairy Grass fighting against each other, both of them taking. Yes, I see that it is a little dark, and this is how it was recorded, but the immediate swap it, and it's Rock Throw revealed on Virtualo's Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo, yeah.
And we are going to see here, going for the Energy Ball versus the Sudowoodo, looking to apply some pressure here. We see a no-shield Energy Ball, rocks the Pseudo, and now in comes the Umbreon. Umbreon will be able to tank whatever Pseudo throws here. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam, a very powerful charge move that also boosts up Pseudo's attack. We do see the Meteor Beam, that connects. Light from the heavens above smites the Umbreon, but Umbreon able to hang on here and get the Snarl down. That is a massive farm down, as Umbreon now leads with so much energy to threaten the Whimsicott.
Well over 100, but the opponent brought in his own their own Umbreon. This is really interesting. Whimsicott, being that fairy typing, is just going to soak up the Umbreon's own last resort now. As you know, it's basically a wet noodle fight in the pool as Umbreon versus Umbreon. We've seen it many times before in Toronto's finals and numerous amounts of battles. Just these Umbreons versus Umbreons, and there it is. Now, opponent's Umbreon's loaded. That was the gameplay there, Henry. Get their own Umbreon loaded with energy, bring back the fairy. The problem is, does Jump Pluff have Play Rough? That'll be a question for the masses. And oh, it is Rock Throw onto Saruka Sudowoodo, which is finally revealed. So neither of them are rocking counters, which means that Umbreons on both teams look really good.
Pseudo tried to go for the farm down, not quite able to get there. And Fairy Wind charges very quickly, so we will see a Grass Knot deployed by the Whimsicott. Whimsicott cannot make it to another move. And that is quite advantageous for the Pseudo. Going for the Meteor Beam here. Even if it's shielded, it's going to be boosting up the Rock Throw damage here. Firing off the Meteor Beam. Meteor Beam is going to be shielded by the Umbreon as we see the attack boost come through. Umbreon farmed up a bunch of energy, as you mentioned earlier, and it's going to start using it now. Umbreon is going to fire off the foul play. Pseudo able to tank that damage. Pseudo getting these boosted rock throws in. Pseudo cannot make another move, but got some very valuable fast move pressure. And now it's looking like there's basically a catch remaining with the Umbreon. And it's basically just all up to Jump Pluff now.
It is. There's a shield still on it too. Last Resort, Foul Play, don't care. Dark Pulse, don't matter. Psychic, maybe half the health there, but it doesn't seem like this is a meta where anybody will be putting Psychic on their Umbreon. So Umbreon is just going to throw out all this energy. The tanky Jump Pluff, like, did it feel anything? Did you feel anything, little guy? You feel anything over there? Your pollen shake off or something? I don't know. You felt a wind, a gust of wind from this little dark puppy as the moonlight is about to see this energy ball right here. And the last shield finally given by the opponent. But like you said, a swap to make the catch, not gonna happen, as Vittorillo recognized that and said, nah, nah, nah. Nah, nah, nah.
Fantastic patience from the opponent there, avoiding the catch. Umbreon will grab the final shield here, farm it up with the jump bluff, outpaced by a single turn. So it turns out that the catch attempt actually ends up costing the game, unfortunately.
Oh, that's tough, and we're going to get right into battle, too, as that was the problem. That catch, you hate to see it, you try to make the catch, then you end up giving your opponent more energy to get to that second move, as Galvantula leaves immediately off of that rock throw and Sudowoodo. Now, we both saw rock throwing Sudowoodos throw meteor beams. Okay, so this is before the meteor beam, has to be the rock slide here, if not the earthquake. We'll see, should be the rock slide. It is, as the rock slide gets shielded by Tsuruka. Now, Tsuruka, this is smart. You know you're going to get shielded no matter what. Why not boost your attack? Yes, you're going to get the shield. Yes, you're going to give the shield. But now your rock slide's doing more than theirs. So maybe they don't shield, or you don't just do a little bit more chunk damage as you farm this down. And look at that boost. There's the difference why you should probably go Meteor Beam. And oh, the rock. Did you see how much damage those rock throws did to the Frostlass? Frostlass ain't gonna want to see this rock slide if she don't shield.
Oh goodness, Frostlass gets KO'd, putting all faith into Galvantula with a shield. In comes Umbreon. Umbreon does take super effective damage here, but at this point, it's all about just getting damage onto the Galvantula. Galv is going to be firing off the lunge here. Umbreon can farm up energy, but also does have the potential to switch into the jump bluff. Gonna bank the energy for later, resetting that attack debuff, which is very important. And now in comes the jump bluff. Jump bluff farming up to the acrobatics, but is going to lose CMP to the Galvantula. Jump bluff does tank any one move here. You're going to see Galv. It fires off the lunge. Lunge is going to land. Jump bluff tanks it like it's nothing, and is going to return fire here with the acrobatics.
What is the second move? Is it not? None of them have cross poison? Are they rocking energy ball? What is Galvantula's second move? Neither of E4's lineups have shown any of that Galvantula's second move, as another lunge comes through unshielded. Like you said, jump bluff, don't care. Just gonna soak it up, taking the energy onto that Umbreon there and letting it go after it soaked up that lunge too, so it loses the debuff. Beautiful play by Tsuruka as it's in the background, but it didn't matter. It was just backup as that aerobatics is going to take out that Galvantula. Now we're going to get Jump Bluff into that Whimsicott. No, this is not game 1. It is game 3. It is 1-1, and we are down to the wire. Sudowoodo swapping in again. Gonna have to see the brunt end of that energy ball. And it doesn't. It does not want to see the super effective energy ball. So it might give up the shield here.
And last time, we actually did see Vittorillo let this through. This time, opting to shield instead. And now in comes Umbreon. Umbreon does have a lot of neutral play here, but as we've seen, that Meteor Beam just hits incredibly hard. And you know, even if you shield the first one, the next one, well, it's going to do more. We're going to see a no shield here of the first Meteor Beam from the Sudowoodo, recognizing that the future ones are going to be doing more. And now going to return fire here, firing off a charge move. But Sudo doesn't have to shield this. This move is not going to be enough to KO. Umbreon goes for the Dark Pulse here. Sudo is going to let that through. Sudo down a shield, but these rock throws are adding up quite a bit. And Umbreon makes it to another foul play.
Umbreon is just so thick. Boosted rock throws, whatever. This is not Frostlass. This is defense tanky Umbreon. We've loved it from the beginning. And again, I like the objective here by Tsuruka. You know that Sudowoodo isn't rocking counter. You can bring Umbreon to soak up everything, put the chunk down, get his opposing Sudowoodo to the red, and then bring in your own Sudowoodo to farm up with no shields on your opponent. There was a Galvantula already seen, and Rock Throw Sudowoodo is looking really good right now. Ooh, can he get to the Meteor Beam? Is it waiting for that catch? No catch.
No catch. Whimsicott Very spammy, but not the tankiest Pokemon around. This Meteor Beam is going to hurt. That's going to be a goodbye to the Whimsicott. What do they have in the back? It's the Galvantula. Look at the rock throws go. Sudowoodo on a rampage, gets the full farm down, and Saruka proves to be the superior Sudowoodo gamer and gets the win.
That gameplay, Saruka definitely taught Vittorio how to rock Sudowoodo. Shield the energy ball, buddy. He game one and then showed that the Meteor Beam first to boost up rock throws is absolutely the way to go. So well done by Saruka for getting 2 more points. Vittorio got his team a point, so they're still in it. Beautifully played Sudowoodos by both of the battlers there. Well done. Just amazing tournaments in this category. All right. We are in the Arcana field. So I keep doing that. Arcanine, Icona. We are in the Arcana field. They are 2 points away, basically, from winning Infinity Go Black here. They need 2 wins. It has been close matches. Granted, the score might be a little teetered right now. It does not matter. These battles have come down to the wire, needing to make catches in between. So don't count out E4 yet, as we are going to break into Arcana now. And
I do really like the Pelipper pick from Emilio. Pelipper feels like an incredibly flexible choice for this meta, as it has as with a shield advantage or energy lead, it has play versus basically any Pokemon you could encounter, especially on the opponent's team. Another sleeper that I think could be quite nice is potentially shields down Shiftry, especially if it's running Hurricane. I have seen some Shiftries rocking Hurricane in this meta, and that can be an absolutely nasty surprise for Jumpluff if shields are down.
I love the fact that Shiftry is coming back in this meta. It's a glassy Pokemon, but the attack weight on it is so strong. Like, oh my goodness. Like, you could throw Hurricanes, Leaf Blades, Grass Knots. It got great coverage out there. Like, it's an amazing Pokemon, but man, can it not take a hit? And the thing I'm worried about that it's going to see probably a lot of is that Tyrunt on Maxie's team, because Tyrunt is such a strong Pokemon now with that Dragon Tail. Like, oh my goodness. The rock typing with Dragon Tail is very dominant in this Arcana, and Tyrunt I've seen on numerous amounts of teams, and I don't have one. And I'm not going to lie, like, if I don't see a Tyrunt on an Arcana team, like, good luck, battler. Good luck, because Tyrunt is just so strong in this meta. But yeah, there's a lot of great Pokemon in here. The Arcana, definitely a different type of meta, as it is a Ghost typing, Grass typing, Psychic typing, Rock typing with Pelipper add-on. So as you see, both battlers having that Pelipper, that add-on is a great add-on. Gyarados, Scyther, which would be lovely to see what Scyther can do. Honchkrow and Vespiquen here in this matchup, as we are going to get into it right now. Watching Maxie versus Emilio. And ooh, shiny Jumpluff, sir.
All right, as we move into the first game here, we have the shiny Jumpluff battling against the Cofagrigus. And as we take a peek in the back, we do see that Pelipper that we mentioned making an appearance in the back. Jumpluff farming up to the acrobatics, going for the energy ball here. Energy ball is of course cheaper, but the reason you go for the energy ball in this matchup is you're going to need 2 moves to KO the Cofagrigus anyway. So if you go for the energy ball, it is slightly cheaper, slightly less energy used to get rid of it. Cofagrigus is running Dark Pulse as its secondary charge move to Shadow Ball, farming up and losing CMP to the Cofagrigus. We will see the no shield from the Jumpluff here. Is this going to be enough to KO?
Jumpluff is a thick. We've seen Jumpluff take everything. That first Dark Pulse was really tough. That second one looked undercharged. Maybe he thought he was going to KO that and wanted some more damage. And they both simultaneously swap into the same matchup, just on the other side now. Oh, if that's how you play Jumpluff, well then let's just throw Shadow Ball out and put you on the check. Let's see if you're gonna shield this. Shadow Ball, if you go build up for it, you build up the Shadow Ball. Not as good as the Dark Pulse, Dark Pulse gets to, if you throw the Dark Pulse, the first Dark Pulse, you get to that second Dark Pulse a lot quicker by 1 extra tap sooner. That's how he's able to throw off that second Dark Pulse. An Energy Ball goes through, no debuff. But the Shadow Ball got shielded, and in comes the second one now.
And able to win CMP over the Jumpluff here. Now this is crucial, because this means Jumpluff not going to be able to overfarm anymore. And since Jumpluff is stuck here, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see this move no shielded, and then just honestly saving shields for the Pelipper. We see the Energy Ball there. That's going to get the Kofagrigus very low. Does get the farm down, but now you have Pelipper up shields, and Pelipper up shields is just so deadly. Pelipper farming up these wing attacks, hitting for super effective damage. Pelipper going to begin to take good advantage of this shield advantage here, and shields up the acrobatics.
Not only does it have the shield there, it also has a Jumpluff in the back too for a catch, a potential catch. So we'll have to see if Emilio is up for that and knows the counts on Tyrunt, because Tyrunt is the last Pokemon it's going to see as the, look at that, Weather Ball on that rock typing did nothing. And let me say it again, Weather Ball on that rock typing did nothing. That's how impressive Tyrunt is in this meta. Like, the shield will come, Tyrunt will take that, because that would definitely take it to the deep red, and they can't afford that. But another Weather Ball, the Pelipper, like you said, so spammy, so attack heavy, as it is just going to throw another Weather Ball. And look at that, Tyrunt's still alive. What a catch.
What a beautiful catch. Absolutely fantastic gameplay there. Catching the Dragon Claw onto the Jumpluff. Pelipper wing attacks down a rock type. And Pelipper looking to close out this game in style. In comes the Jumpluff. Jumpluff isn't making it to a move either. And all that's left is the Kofagrigus. That gets wing attacks down as well. And Emilio taking game 1, moving into game number 2 here. And what makes a return but the Kofagrigus, this time aligned against the Tyrunt.
Ooh, there's some damage moves on both opponents, so they didn't give up shields in the last matchup. We'll see if, Tyrunt would give up a shield, but doesn't matter because the first move is coming Tyrunt's way. That Dragon Tail, look at the damage on what Dragon Tail did to Kofagrigus. This is what we're talking about. Chunks away at the health of your opponents and builds up energy, as a Dragon Claw did just tons of damage too. The Kofagrigus in the deep red already, an immediate double swap out again. Only we're in what the lead matchup was last matchup. So we're gonna see now Jumpluff in a shield advantage, going for the acrobatics. You were talking about it in the last battle. It's better to go with the Energy Ball for the energy, but now you have a shield advantage. Why not go for those nukes? Put that real good pressure down on your opponent.
And we do see that Pelipper lurking in the back as well. This move not going to be lethal, but we do see a shield deployed. So clearly valuing health on this Jumpluff. Jumpluff over farming. We see a second move reached by the Kofagrigus, and this time we are going to see a no shield on the Jumpluff. Opponent connects with the Shadow Ball, and that does add up quite a bit. This does allow Jumpluff farming up just shy of the back-to-back moves there, farming up right around 100 energy, and going to fire off the Energy Ball. Energy Ball will be lethal. Kofagrigus is going to let this go.
We've seen Kofa live with like 1 HP like last matchup. It was incredible. Like, you saw the jump. I was like, no, I'm not done farming you down. Just a little more. I had to get that little more extra energy down. But the Tyrunt's going to take care of Jumpluff, as now the switch is now in Emilio's favor. Emilio! Gonna hit you with that water ball. And it is going to hurt again. Tyrunt doesn't, even though it doesn't KO it, will probably not want to see this and give up its last shield. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here, Henry. Another catch.
What a beautiful catch. Absolutely unreal. Catching the Dragon Claw onto the very low health Kofagrigus, and now back in comes the Pelipper. Pelipper needing to make it to the Weather Ball. Opponent tries for a catch themselves. In comes Malamar. Malamar, very spammy, but at a massive energy disadvantage here. Pelipper with no shields remaining from the opponent, clear to go for the Hurricane, and that connects absolutely rocking the Malamar. Malamar is going to return fire here, firing off the foul play, and this will grab the final shield from the Pelipper. Pelipper looking to wing attack down and leave with a move to KO the Tyrant here. Pelipper gets the farm down, leaves with the Weather Ball loaded here. In comes the Tyrant, still throwing on good timing, one wing attack and the move, getting all available damage onto the Tyrant. Weather Ball gets the KO as we move into game 3.
I'm not gonna lie, it looked like Tyrant Dragon Tail was gonna KO that Pelipper. A great throw immediately. As we get the Crustle lead now into this matchup. Like I said, Crustle was great in Catacombs. This Arcana is where it shines as well. Rock Throw, Smackdown, Rock Throw, Rock Slide, X Scissor, like opportunities for you to have. Oh, and Rock Tomb as well. Opportunities to have plenty of play here with your boy. Crustle doesn't shield the first one, goes down to the deep red, takes Cofagrigus to the red with it, and immediate swaps. Thinking that they were going to double swap again, we finally don't have double swap into Jump Left Cofagrigus swap out, Henry.
And I'll be honest, I am a little surprised to see Pelipper on the bench for game 3. It feels like Emilio has had massive success with the Pelipper, but choosing to bench it this time in favor of a team that does have the Crustle. So we are going to see Tyrant has a lot of energy here. Decision time for the Cofagrigus. Cofagrigus will commit the shield on the Dragon Claw from Tyrant. And Cofagrigus going for the Shadow Ball here. The Shadow Ball does get same type attack bonus. It is definitely going to hurt.
Tyrant making Dragon Tails look like counters on Umbreon against this Cofagrigus, who has great defense. This is a great, thick, tanky Pokemon here, and it's in the red after that small little dinosaur Dragon Tailed it down, and I can understand why the Weather Ball Pelipper didn't come out. You were dominant with it both matches. Your opponent will absolutely bring Crustle in this matchup for sure, because that literally is the only thing that can handle it, and there it is, as the Dark Pulse will land on his Crustle as well. Look at that Jump Pluff on the Crustle, and the Rock Throw isn't going to be that effective because of that grass typing. Now, yeah, it's still chunking away, but not as much as it would against a normal flyer, or a Pelipper at least.
Now, that was a very interesting decision there. As that Cofagrigus was KO'd, it got the energy for the Shadow Ball, chose to go for the Dark Pulse, and with the no shield there, Shadow Ball, of course, would have done more damage. I wonder if that may prove to be a bit of a mistake here in this endgame. Firing off the Energy Ball. Energy Ball does get the shield from the Crustle, farming up, goes for the catch. Great patience from the opponent. Opponent is going to get farmed down by the Crustle. One smackdown from each. Ooh. Crustle, does it have a move? It does now. If this is the Rock Slide, this is going to be game over. If it's the X Scissor, it's not going to be enough here. Firing off the Rock Slide into the Jump Bluff.
Game
that
over.
Does it.
Woo! Maxi got a point for his team because they're trying to win for ties. Great job by both battlers there. Incredible done. Tyrant carrying the damage there, but it was Pelipper all the way. You put up two tanky Pokemon like Cofagrigus and Jump Up to soak up the energy and spam off with their damage move, and then you bring in something like Pelipper, who, if you're in a shield advantage, can just go to town and force any. Look at what Hurricane did to that Malamar. It was there, and then it wasn't. Like, great job by our opponents for building up these teams. Wonderfully played by Infinity Go Black, who now have 11 points and have won the matchup before the last battle is done. So we're going to get into that last final Arcana matchup here, as we are going to see matchup 2. But GG's to Infinity Go for taking Elite 4. Well, let's head over to game 2 now of Arcana. Just because it's gone to 11 doesn't mean the battles are over, as we are going to finish off with Crystozune versus E4's as Model 06. Henry, we are looking at these teams. What are you seeing here, my man?
Well, we do see Asmodal, of course, running the Pelipper, but a different water flying type for Crystozune. Crystozune opting for the Shadow Gyarados. Now, Shadow Gyarados can output a tremendous amount of fast move pressure here, And with no tanky Jumpluff and no tanky Cofagrigus on the side of Asmodal, you have to wonder if fast move pressure from Shadow Gyarados could potentially play a role, because there are a couple of the glassier picks on Asmodal's side in the Shiftry and a mon we haven't seen in the previous matchup, Haunter.
Yeah, Haunter, Mew, great Pokemon there. There is only one Dark typing on that Malamar, but those two Pokemon with those Shadow Claws will chew up Malamar's health. So they will play with shields for sure, maybe to let Shiftry just go to town on everything else. The one thing I need to highlight though is that Ferrothorn. Those two that you've got are real spicy, those Haunter and Mew, really great Pokemon. But if you really think about it, right, if Sudowoodo is not rocking counter, there really isn't much that Ferrothorn is afraid of. Everything is glassy, you can Mirror Coat, you can Flash Cannon, you can Bullet Seed, you can take the damage from, the Hurricane won't KO you. Lots of play here for that Ferrothorn, but we'll have to see how Christozun will play that out, because Mew could have anything. You don't know. Mew could have Focus Blast. It could be a Focus Blast Mew coming to our faces. We have no idea yet of what's happening there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. What do you think Sudowoodo is rocking, sir?
Sudowoodo, I feel like it's tough because there are multiple flyers which would seem to induce the Rock Throw. But Ferrothorn as well with counter. I still think it's going to be the Rock Throw, but this Ferrothorn could be a bit interesting. And then Mew as well. We'll have to see what moveset it is running. Ooh. All right, as we move into game number 1, we see Cofagrigus into Haunter in the battle of Shadow Claw users. As you can see, Haunter just getting shredded by the Shadow Claws, already below half health. But Haunter able to outpace the Cofagrigus here. Haunter is going to strike first. We're going to see an early shield from the Cofagrigus on this Shadow Punch.
Yeah, I like the call. Oh, I don't like this call. Really great to keep farming because you're chunking away that Haunter. You didn't need to throw. Haunter was down in like 2 more taps, but another Shadow Punch was coming. You don't want to be down on shields, and look at that. There's the Crustle onto the Shiftry. Great play. Shiftry is not locked in. Shiftry is in this, and it is there, and it is going to throw the first matchup here. First charge move, and it is that Foul Play?
Leaf Blade.
Leaf Blade. Ooh, damage. Wow, that's a lot of damage on that. Neutral damage on that rock bug Pokemon, as it's going to go to its X's. We talked about Shiftry being glassy, as look at what just rock throws are doing to Shiftry's health right now. A lot of fast move damage coming in off of Christozun right now, and it's been really interesting. Oh no, there's that tanky Jumpluff, sir.
And this could be interesting here, as we see Shiftry not farming up to a potential Hurricane here. So it looks like Shiftry is actually running Foul Play, so no Hurricane sighted here. And now looking to overfarm with the Jumpluff here. Jumpluff making a catch onto the Cofagrigus. So fully committing to Jumpluff as the win con.
My guy, I am dying on these catches. They are so on point and on time. Like, even one extra tap, you're like, oh, they're going to throw. He's got the Foul Play now, but they're not throwing. They're not swapping. And then they make the catch. It's been incredible play this whole time. Amazing job by Christone, as you're going to get an Energy Ball flying onto that Pelipper now. It has just been wonderful to watch all around today, and this has just been amazing, as that Pelipper will give up its last shield. Now this Weather Ball, I don't think it takes it out, but you would get farmed down real quickly before you got to another move. So you don't want to do that. It's not the weather. That's not the Weather Ball you're worried about. It's those wing attacks. But Pelipper's almost up, already up to a 3rd Weather Ball now. So like I said, didn't want to get farmed down. Not going to. Got an extra tap in, and now has that Energy Ball to take out this Pelipper.
I believe all that's left in the back is going to be the Shiftry here, as this Energy Ball is enough to KO. In comes the Shiftry. It's going to be a battle of fast moves down to the wire, and Shiftry hangs on, makes it to a move. It doesn't matter what move it got to. The Jumpluff is too low. Shiftry, Leaf Blade, double resistant, gets the job done. And Asmodal able to get a victory when it was very improbable.
That was very improbable. Shiftry keeping the energy in the back, in the deep red too. Like, fortunate enough that Fairy Wind doesn't do any damage to that dark grass typing. Both of those Pokemon had 1 HP in Dreams, but Shiftry was able to access its charge move. I didn't see Pelipper. We saw the Haunter come out. A lot of weak Pokemon. Do we see tank Pokemon come out from Crystal's side at this point? We will see that Kofa lead into the Pelipper again. It looks like it's Jumpluff and Crustle again. Same team all over again by Infinity Go Black.
And Kofa Grigas can do quite nicely here. Kofa goes for the Shadow Ball, but we see the catch on a Shiftry. But this catch, I mean, this Shadow Ball is still going to do about half of Shiftry's HP here. That does a lot. And now in comes the Jumpluff. The Shiftry's moveset is known, so we know it is not running Hurricane here. But even if they built up to it, the Jumpluff just doesn't have to care. Jumpluff has seen both charge moves here. Shiftry is going to go for that foul play. That still does quite a bit of damage. And Jumpluff farming up here. Jumpluff going for the Energy Ball. This is resisted, but as we mentioned, Shiftry is very glassy. It's taking a lot of damage, so Energy Ball is going to be the move to go for here. Opponent not going to commit to the Shiftry, as Shiftry basically has done his job. In comes Crustle. Bit of unfortunate timing there from the Jumpluff, a bit uncharacteristic there, allowing a 2 turns of Smackdown to go through, as Crustle is going to tank the Energy Ball here. Farming up with the Jumpluff. Jumpluff trying to make it to another move. Gets there! And this should be forcing a shield from the Crustle.
That should, because Crustle probably CMP tied that and wants to get this off. If not, oh, they farmed it down. Great on as model for not throwing the energy on that CMP tie there. Well done. And now has energy on his Crustle. Can throw some X Scissors, some Rock Slides, but there are 2 shields on Crystal's side. That Shiftry no Hurricane information is so huge right now. It could literally change the entire play, just because as model won the first one, not knowing that Hurricane was on, not having Hurricane on Shiftry. Now that he has it, Jumpluff feels super safe. And look at what Smackdown's doing. We talked about it. The Pelipper was there. Why did he bench Pelipper last time? Because look at what Smackdown does to Pelipper. It's like 4 Smackdowns and Pelipper is out. Like, bye-bye. Gets the Meteor Bola. Gets to the second one. The shield went through. This one will take it to the yellow, but will not KO it, as now Crustle's going to be loaded with energy.
Crustle had to give up both shields as Pelipper had banked energy from earlier in the match. We'll have to see. In comes an opposing Crustle, loses the energy. Oh, a mistake. Possibly as, oh man, the Crustle makes it to the move. Lost so much energy on the Crustle, hoping for the farm down there. It's only the X Scissor. I mean, but actually gets the farm down. Wow. Did not make it to the Rock Slide. Able to survive by just going purely for the fast move beatdown.
I thought they had the Rock Slide. Maybe they just realized they weren't going to get it because of that turn in. Crustle was at 2 HP. Sometimes you just have to make the decision to go for that move, or else you'll just get farmed down without throwing the energy. So, great plays all around. Crystone is doing wonderful. Still haven't seen Ferrothorn yet. I got hyped on Pharaoh for no reason. And here we go, Shiftry into Crustle. Oh, there it is.
Oh, look what's in the back.
There it is.
Look what's in the back. We have the Ferrothorn and the Shadow Gyarados. You love to see it. All right, on our lead, we have Crustle versus Shiftry here. The Smackdown dealing a lot of damage to the Shiftry. Shiftry is going to land the Leaf Blade, and now we see a Crustle mirror there. Ends up baiting with an X Scissor. This is a bit of a risky bait here from the Crustle. May have wanted to click on the Rock Slide, as that gets no shielded. And now in comes the Ferrothorn.
He tapped the X Scissor and then tapped the Rock Slide, going like, I was gonna be KO'd anyways. But no, Crustle's around for a third shield if needed, but Ferrothorn, this is what we're talking about. Rock Slide ain't gonna do it. Look at this tanky, and it's got already 2 steel type moves ready to go in this mirror shot. Like, well done. This Pokemon is so good against that rock typing, very neutral against all these Pokemon, and has that grass access. If Pelipper's everybody's play thought process because of the flying, then get yourself the 1 steel typing that can charge everybody. This Shiftry doesn't want to see any charge move. Ooh, Mirror Shot though doesn't do it, and still no debuff. Incredible, incredible.
Going for yet another Mirror Shot here. Mirror Shot, not the most powerful move, but Shiftry is very glassy. Shiftry able to hang on with a sliver of HP and make it to the move. Going to let the Ferrothorn go, because we know that Shadow Gyarados is in the back. Shadow Gyarados can deal some incredibly oppressive damage, but it's definitely going to want shields up. Thinking about it here. What do you want energy on? In comes the Shadow Gyarados, and it's the Haunter. And look at the fast move pressure. This is Dragon Tail tearing through the Haunter here. Haunter will make it to a move, just opts to go for the fast move pressure, and Shadow Gyarados just farming everything down, not a single shield used, and that's game over.
Brought the same line twice, and then brought in this Shadow Gyarados closer to annihilate and eat everything right up. Well done. Great job on the team play. That Dragon Breath was so crazy. That's why Haunter isn't the best, because just like Shiftry, just glassy. Just got chewed up by that. So GG's to Kristone, as we are going to head back to the analyst desk. As you saw, Infinity Go Black dominated an amazing matchup here, 13-8. I say dominated very loosely, right? It was not an onslaught to like that effect. It looked good, but it was a strong showing in points. But in the macro gameplay and the micro play, just some amazing battles there. Henry, what are your thoughts on this wonderful factions week we just saw?
Yeah, I mean, there were some truly fantastic battles. I'd say some of my favorite probably ended up either being the Mr. League, that mega battle we had, or potentially the Confusion Galarian Slowbro play in Justicar. Bestia Max, the mind games, benching it game 1, able to defeat the Magneton opponent, benches the Magneton game 2, back out comes the Slowbro, baiting out the Magneton for game 3, just to have it run into a wall in Cobalion. So I would say that probably ended up being one of my favorites there, because you can see the mind games that Bestia Max was playing and able to play them quite successfully.
Beautifully, you say. Beautifully. He did so well there. I love the triple Fury Cutters in the Catacomb. I thought Green Slash's matchups there was so great, so intricate, because the one Fury Cutter was a water typing, one Fury Cutter was a bug typing. So many different plays all around with that. So great job all around in this entire cycle of this week. And guess what? Next week could be completely different teams. Nobody could run Ferrothorn. Everybody could run Ferrothorn. You could see Pelipper everywhere. You could see Haunter everywhere. So the beauties of faction is that the teams always change. So this week, this cycle was in Infinity Go's favor, as they take the cycle of the they take the week of the 4th cycle of the 2nd season there. There it is. Wow, this is so intricate. It's season 2 of cycle 4, and this is the 2nd week. So GG's to Infinity Go Black there. HomeSliceHenry, thank you for joining me today and being a part of us at the arena here in the studio. So I just want to say thank you. You had a great time with you out here. Be sure to follow his stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/HomeSliceHenry. That's where I live stream, and that's where I make videos. So
I'll have the link down below for go check out HomeSliceHenry. You're a great content creator. I'm so happy to share the stage with you and be able to chat and cast with you. Wonderful time, sir.
Much appreciated. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank you all for watching the Poke Battle Network. Be sure to follow all the actions on FSPN, as the articles of Silph will be popping up. I'll have the link down below for all of that, and those articles will give you breakdowns of the divisions of each cycle for the week. Thank you all for watching Poke Battle Network. I'm Sosaflo, and like always, enjoy your battles.